Information-fueled.
Opinion-driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and welcome on in to your Wednesday, February 12th of 2025. Hope you are doing well. Hey, coming up at 5:25, another episode of Mad Maxine.
Elon Musk, where are you?
He was actually in the Oval Office yesterday. That's where he was, and it was epic. Did you see that? This was a lot of fun. Elon Musk in the Oval Office inviting full transparency. We're going to talk about that as the morning does continue to progress.
But it was his son that sort of stole the
What is his son's
spotlight.
name?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is this one of the kids that has an actual name or just...
No, it's one of the weird names. It's
Okay.
one of the weird names.
Yeah.
But he did. He stole the show. And it was a lot of fun. And for, Mad Max,
Elon Musk, where are you?
he very methodically and very plain spokenly for Elon Musk, he ticked off like 5, 6, 7 different things that the government needs to do better. 150-year-olds, by the way, getting Social Security is one of them. The Pennsylvania mine, I'm going to get into all this. The Pennsylvania mine, where they file retirement paperwork for federal employees manually. Can you imagine? Did you hear the story, Joan?
No. Oh.
So apparently, I guess I'm going to do
Yes.
this now. I guess I'm going to do this now.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. I was going to do something else. Big news, of course, you heard Joan talk about it. Marc Fogel has been an American hostage in Russia, has now been released yesterday. He woke up in that Russian prison this morning. He is waking up in the Lincoln bedroom late last night. An amazing story. Donald Trump out in the snow meeting this returned hostage and the Trump administration. Marc Fogel released after 3.5 years, roughly 3.5 years in a Russian prison. It is a whole story with Marc Fogel. And so let me get through the Fogel stuff first, because I want to do that, because that's what I was going to open up with. There's a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it. Marc Fogel, what an incredible moment last night where you had him. And he was, again, released from that Russian prison. And I guess another one is going to be released today. You know what he was arrested for, Marc Fogel? He was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian prison because he had medical marijuana prescribed by a doctor, and he was caught with it in Russia. So he spent over 3 years in that Russian prison. And Donald Trump, again, trudging out in the snow, welcomed him. And Fogel was, of course, as you can imagine, very touched.
And Secretary Rubio, who met my son a while back. I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom in a little while. It's a very special place. Appropriate for tonight. Very appropriate.
And thank you all.
Donald Trump, peace through strength, persuaded Vladimir Putin to release an American hostage. Apparently, the White House is saying that it gave up nothing. So this seems, for me, you had the Trump administration, I think it was Steve Witkoff, goes off to Russia, meets with either Vladimir Putin himself or Putin's operatives. One way or another, a goodwill gesture by Vladimir Putin to finally release Vogel. And I think this is great. This is incredible. The White House, again, saying they gave up nothing. Goodwill gesture, because, they're talking about Ukraine right now. Donald Trump, let's be all honest. Donald Trump has been flexing his muscles on the world stage. He's been going after Canada and Panama and Greenland, of course, Mexico, those other countries, also Russia and Ukraine. And so Trump is showing peace through strength. And as far as Fogel goes, last night was he was amazed that he was actually home. And it was a great speech.
Thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promise, she's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
I remember. She made quite an impression.
And you also did.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe of what you've done and your team.
It's great to have you back.
So you just heard Marc Fogel and Donald Trump, and they're talking about Fogel's 95-year-old mother. Her name is Malphine.
It's I've never heard that name before. Malphine.
Yeah,
Malphine.
is that Malphine? I hope I'm saying that correctly, because she sounds like an amazing woman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where Donald Trump met her?
No, where?
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Minutes before he was hit with an assassin's bullet, would-be assassin's bullet. He had finished speaking to her backstage there in Butler, Pennsylvania, took the stage, and was shot in the ear. So just minutes before he was almost killed, he had met with Malphine. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Linking arms with Donald Trump, Malphine Fogel recounted her son's ordeal, how she was struggling to get the Biden administration to prioritize his case and her fears for her son's health. Flashing a thumbs up before a camera, Donald Trump promised to, quote, get him out, then invited her onto the VIP section of the stage to watch him speak. She was only a few feet away from the podium when shots rang out, with a single bullet grazing Donald Trump's ear. The candidate, of course, we all know, was tackled. A congressman shielded Malphine Fogel from incoming fire.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. And you can't tell me God's hand is not in all of that.
You're absolutely right. Now, remember, Fogel was arrested 6 months before Brittany Griner. But look how quickly she got out, relatively speaking. Then, I mean, think about Fogel in this prison, Marc Fogel in this prison in Russia, where he sees Brittany Griner released. Then he sees Paul Whelan, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, and Trevor Reed all released before Donald Trump finally made it happen. Now, for some reason, I don't understand, and maybe somebody can explain it to me. For some reason, Joe Biden, in his infinite wisdom, or the Biden administration and its infinite wisdom, chose not to designate Marc Fogel as wrongfully detained. They just let him rot in prison. So here he was, basically imprisoned, the Biden administration not doing anything. His mother, Malphine, she was out there saying that the Biden administration, they would pay no attention to him whatsoever. And so it really frustrated this poor 95-year-old woman. I've got that audio coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, very quickly, we do have the Super Text line. It is open at 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Would love to hear from you this morning. Do us a favor, watch us on YouTube if you would, and you can take the Daily Dan poll. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have actually forgotten. Oh, the Daily Dan poll. This is a great one. And it was KGB. KGB, the Daily Dan poll is, what do you think the future is for Caroline Leavitt? Because she's got, clearly, at 27 years old, an amazing future. And so we put in governor, congressman, senator, or
like none of the above.
None of the above.
So someone actually put in Fox News, which makes sense. I think we'll make none like obviously like one of those like on desk people. But I was future mainly in politics.
Yeah, I mean, I think she is amazing. So that is the Daily Dan poll. Do us a favor, take the Daily Dan poll when you watch us on YouTube. Do us a favor and like the channel, subscribe, and all of those other things. And by the way, the podcast from the show available anywhere you get your podcasts.
One in Talbot's Corner on 24, exit 86. There's a stalled out car. The left shoulder is blocked off by it. That, by the way, is a tractor trailer that's stalled out. And then the North Loop, 65 northbound just before I-24 exit 86AB. There's an accident and 2 left lanes are blocked by it. Now, we're being told by Stefano DiPietro this morning that visibility is way down because of some fog. Mostly it's concentrated around the Nashville area. So as you're headed in, just be advised that it may not look so bad where you are, but once you get into Nashville, pretty thick this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much. Wet roadways. Your weather today, 56 degrees and going to be rainy most of the day. And as you heard Joan mention, we do have some visibility issues right around. Was it Nashville you're saying?
Around
Joan?
Nashville, it's the worst.
All right, very good. Nothing to see in Nashville anyway. Totally kidding. Moving right along. So Marc Fogel. Now, this is, again, the mother of Marc Fogel. And she was quoted by local television in Pennsylvania. She's from Pittsburgh. They're all from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And she spoke about how excited she is that her son is finally out of that Russian prison thanks to Donald Trump.
He just said, I'm in the Moscow airport. And, of course, he usually calls from the prison. And I said, well, what are you doing there? He says, I'm waiting for a plane to take me to Washington, D.C., which was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Actually got dizzy.
Yeah, 95 years old. And I'm so glad that he got out in time to see his mother once again. By the way, this is Marc Fogel's sister.
He called my mom right before he got on the plane. And so it was like, oh my gosh, is it going to happen? And then we got the news that they were out of Russian airspace. So we are really pumped.
So again, that is Marc Fogel's sister. And as you can imagine, Trump getting Fogel back. This is a guy from Pennsylvania, a history teacher. Biden refused again to even consider him wrongfully detained. I think that says a lot about Donald Trump. You know, promises made, promises kept. And apparently, we didn't have to give anything up. Biden gave up terrorists to get Brittany Griner back, but Fogel, nothing. Eventually, I will say, December 1st, Joe Biden finally decided that, yes, Marc Fogel is wrongfully detained. But why did it take 3.5 years for Biden to finally designate this guy as wrongfully detained? I think this is an example of peace through strength. Honestly, it's a great day for obviously Marc Fogel, the Fogel family as well, but also it's a great day for America as we're getting one of our guys back. Again, Marc Fogel talking about Donald Trump.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes.
Well, you know what? Welcome back. And it is, again, great that he is back here in the States. And so much more to say about this. And again, at some point today, maybe it'll happen this morning, the Trump administration saying that another American hostage is going to be released. Now, at 5:25, another fun episode of Mad Maxine.